Keegan, he wanted to know, why do all the comp briskets I see online look like a loaf of bread? Does no one cook a packer anymore?
Competition barbecues, they're trying to get one bite barbecue, cook it as fast as they can. I mean, they're not cooking a long full big brisket cook anymore. They're cutting these things down to box size. They've got these little trays they fit in. It's basically the size of this notepad or even a little bit smaller. But that brisket cooks fast and it cooks even and it stands up and every slice is going to be uniform. They can cook it in 5-6 hours versus a whole packer taking, 17.
Welcome to Malcom Reed's How to Barbecue Right, a podcast where we talk about barbecue, share recipes, and discuss all things delicious. And now, here's your host, Malcom and Rochelle Reed.
Hey, welcome back to the How to Barbecue Right podcast. I'm your host, Malcom Reed. And as always, I'm joined by my lovely, talented wife, Miss Southern Shell. We got Tyler over here running the boards. How's everybody doing today?
Good. I haven't seen you all week.
What?
You've been out of town on another adventure.
Yeah, I have. I got to go to Texas. We drove, it's supposed to be 10 and a half hours. Going, it was 10 and a half hours. Coming back, it took us like 12 because we had to go through Oklahoma City and we caught Little Rock traffic and we caught West Memphis traffic coming in. So it was a nightmare coming back.
What part of Texas did you go to?
I drove 10 and a half hours to go to Memphis. I can't get away from
North
Memphis.
Texas.
Yeah. It's like North Texas. That's the town, Memphis, Texas.
There's a Memphis, Egypt.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to go
Now
there.
I know 3 Memphises. Yeah. But no, it was awesome. I had a blast. It's a totally different country out there, man. It was like the Wild West. We were riding around this big ranch, kind of scouting out some turkeys and trying to avoid cacti. That's very hard. Everything out there's got a thorn. Everything either's got a thorn on it, or it's trying to bite you, or
It's some rough land.
Sting you. Yeah, I don't know anything survives.
Did they have
there.
Scorpions?
Oh yeah.
Did you see any
tarantulas? I didn't see any rattlesnakes. Bats.
Did you see cactus?
Porcupine. Oh, cactus are everywhere.
Really?
Like,
big ones?
No, not like those Arizona ones you see. These are more like little. I tell you what. So there's little cactus there, and I mean they're like a little bush, and they got long, thorns all over them. But then they've got these little fuzzy things over them. That's what you want to avoid because those little fuzzy things are like metal shavings when they get in, and you can't get them out of your skin.
Oh
God! So you definitely need snake boots out there, which I did not have. And you definitely need to be aware of your surroundings at all times. So when I'm going back turkey hunting out there,
You're coming with the snake boots?
I'm coming with a bunch of stuff because you just sit on the ground out there. I think everything's going to be looking for heat source. You get them rattlesnakes crawl up under you, you got to be ready. So it's different from Mississippi boy. I mean, we got snakes, but we ain't got no rattlers. Well, we do actually have some, but
I have never seen one in the wild.
I haven't either personally.
Yeah.
I hear they're around at some of the lakes and where there's rocky soil and stuff like that, or timber rattlers, I guess. But
when you go to the zoo, they have like Mississippi snakes.
Yeah, that's the one that the diamondback that they have at the zoo. That's what's crawling around out there in Texas.
So you told me y'all were short on grills.
Oh man, so yeah.
And I feel like there's been a lot of situations where we go either vacation or you're on a deer camp or whatever, where you're having to use whatever grill they have.
Makeshift, yeah. They had the Aussie Outback.
What's that?
It's like that little collapsible. It's almost a perfect square. It just has a grate and there's no fire pan or anything below it. There's holes in the front and like 3 holes in the front, 3 holes in the back. That's how the air comes in and it sandwiches down. And then you can fold the legs so it packs down on itself. So that's called the Aussie Outback. That's what I've always called them. And I used to use those when I first started doing contests. That's what I cooked my burnt-ass chicken on. It was one of those little Aussie Outback grills. And that's what they had there. So I was like, oh, I got this. And we can cook. And we cooked about, 2 dozen chicken legs on it the first night I got there.
Oh, okay. I see exactly what you're talking about.
They sell them at like Kroger or Walmart or,
The Walkabout.
Is it called the Walkabout now? I used to think it was called the Aussie Outback, but it's called the Walkabout. Yeah, that's it. You remember that? I had a black.
Now it's called the American Walkabout.
Oh, it used to be the Aussie. That's it. The one I have is blue. The one I was cooking on. How much is that grill? Like $30?
$57.
Oh, well, they priced them up. I don't know if this one cost that much.
Inflation.
And I don't know what year this one was I cooked on. It'd seen better days. They had an old gasser there, but it didn't look like it had been cooked on in ages. And then they had a fire pit, and they had a whole bunch of post oak, and then they had these. So mesquite grows everywhere out there, and this was a working cattle ranch that we were on. And so what they do, if they don't like pile up like take the mesquite out, it will absorb all the moisture in the soil and stuff won't grow. And whatever the cow's natural browse is, you have to take out some of that mesquite. So everywhere you look, there's these big. It looks like something you make a bonfire out of. They call them grubbing. It's called grubbing, piling up that mesquite. And I guess they use some kind of tractor or machine or something, and they push it all in these bonfire-sized piles, and they're just everywhere across this.
What's the plan with that? Did they light them eventually?
No, I think they just let it decay. But I was like, man, that's a lot of good smoking wood right there. So we would just go at night or, before dinner, and we'd go out there and take a side-by-side and get us a pile of it and build us a fire. And I found there was a United, I think the grocery store chains are called United out there, or that's the only ones I saw in these little towns. It'd be kind of like our Piggly Wiggly.
Yeah.
Or, little small town grocery store.
Like the K's and Manitoba.
So, you know me, I'm hitting those up to see what they have. Well, they had some beautiful tri-tips. So I got a tri-tip. I was like, we'll have that for dinner one night. I'll make tacos out of tri-tip. And I seasoned it up and let it sit all day. And that night it come back, started us a good post oak mesquite fire. And then I just grilled it on the open fire.
Well, you had a grate.
Yeah. It had a swing grate on it. Like kind of our fire pit does at camp.
Yeah.
It's like that. So where you build your fire and then you swing the grate over it and you can cook on it. So
would you rather cook on that or the Aussie app or the American Walkabout?
I was good on either one. No, I could have cooked that tri-tip on that. Get a little two-zoner going. What
are your tips on cooking on unfamiliar, not up to par grills?
Well,
since you've gotten so fancy now, you've got
I guess you take for granted. You take for granted when you have all these other grills that you're used to cooking on. But I'm familiar enough to kind of know. I mean, if I didn't have a thermometer, I didn't have anything. I didn't bring any cooking tools, and I did.
Did you bring any seasoning?
No, I didn't bring nothing. But so we went into that United thing, and I was like, all right, I got to get some seasonings. I'll find something. They've always got some kind of store brand stuff. And I got to looking, and I went down like the Hispanic aisle because they have awesome Hispanic stuff over there. And I'd found like, the brand, it's like a real generic label. It's kind of like blue and white and
like
red.
Fiesta?
Yeah, it's kind of that brand or whatever. I knew they had some different seasonings. So they had like a fajita and they had like a steak. And I'd pick those up, and then I went back to the main seasoning aisle, and I looked on the shelf. Steak, TX, steak, AP. They had regular barbecue rub. I said, I'm buying my own stuff. So I bought all my own stuff and left it at camp. And then when I got back to camp, I got to looking through their pantry. They'd already had some of my stuff. So I was shocked that I went that far, and the stores out there carried it. I didn't know we were in United grocery stores, but that's awesome. I did ask Mark and Jamie. I was like, why didn't y'all tell me they were out there?
Good job, guys.
Good job, man. So, I didn't have to travel with it. But I didn't have knives. I didn't have tongs. I didn't have a thermopin. And so I did end up going to Ace Hardware, and they had some barbecue stuff too. They didn't have any of ours, but I don't know what's wrong with Ace. But, but they had all mats, so I could have got some of his stuff. But I did buy some charcoal there, and then they had like this little – it's kind of like a generic thermopin. I think it's called the Thermo Pro or something like that. It was like $20. I grabbed one of those and just left it at camp, but it worked. So I had me a temperature device. That's what I would say. Like, if you're going to go somewhere and you're going to be doing some cooking, make you a little tote that you keep with you. I should have had, and I usually do, but I need to have like a truck box that I keep. Then there's some necessity tool type stuff. That way you could build a fire and have a grate on anything. As long as you got a few tools, you can make it work.
What would you put in there?
I'd definitely put a thermometer. I'd probably put me a tong and a knife because, I mean, I was, they had some steak knives I was trying to do some trimming and stuff with. But I'd have me a couple knives in there, a thermometer, probably
maybe some gloves.
Some basic stuff, some disposable cutting boards because I was just having to make do on that. Just some basics. Maybe a squirt bottle if you need it, or just something easy that is pretty universal. That whatever. I need to make a tool list, like a basic travel tool list, and I have some because I used to do a lot of competition cooking. I always was making a list of equipment. I could just scale that down a little bit. Things you would need to cook a steak.
We've done it before when we went on vacation.
Yeah,
we knew we were going to be cooking on grills there.
Yep. Usually have a few aluminum pans, maybe some foil. I mean, a lot of this stuff you can get, but you hate to have to buy all the basics when you get somewhere. It's great to have like some basics with you because you're going to add, you're going to add your cost. It's going to go up if you're having to buy the aluminum foil pans, gloves, things like that. And that's easy stuff you could keep in a little tote. And then all you need is your meat and seasonings.
Well, you drop $20-$30 on a thermopan when you got plenty of.
I've got them. So that was one thing, but I needed it. So
you could have just done you could just keep a thermopop.
Yeah.
One of the little ones.
You don't need the fancy stuff. You need something to get you by that you trust to cook with. Because we were cooking chicken legs. I'd want to know that the internal temperature on those chicken legs is right. And we didn't have that little Thermopro thing then. So I said, all right, I'll see out back. Let's burn them. Burn ass chicken legs. And they were good. They weren't burnt. I had Austin Dykers with me and Mikey, and Austin ran the grill with me, and he's a heck of a cook. So he, between me and him and Mikey, we can cook anything. We made pastalaya one night too. It was phenomenal.
Well, I want to hear about that, but I also want to hear about how your tri-tip went, because you showed me a video that your tongs, the crappy little tongs, and they busted halfway through.
We met this lady at the grocery store come up to me and Mikey. She's like, "You fellas need some help?" Because I guess we were walking around there like we didn't know the store. It's like, well, we're looking for some tongs, and so she showed me a set, but all they had was like silicone. I was like, I really don't want silicone. I'm gonna be cooking on this fire pit. So all they had was like, you remember the ones we'd use for dipping chicken? Where it's a set of metal tongs, but they got the little triangle open things at the end.
That's all it is. It's like a metal rod that turns into a triangle at the end. Yeah,
and it's great for grabbing a chicken thigh because it's not much surface area, so you could dump it and not leave any lines. Well, I was going to try it was not a good buy. But it was like in the dollar section of the store anyway. But I bought them, and they made one turn, and then they broke. They're not made for squeezing too hard.
So what did you do at that point?
Oh, I used I used my hand. So here's what I did with this tri-tip. That morning, I trimmed it up. It had a pretty good fat cap on it.
So what do you do? Do you leave that fat cap?
No, I took it off because I had a plan for it. And I didn't show this. I didn't record this because I was doing this in the morning while the guys were out doing other stuff. I just got me a little pot going on the stove. And I took all these trimmings, like some of it had a little meat on it. And then I was just squaring up to making it look good, cleaning it up. And I had this pile of fat and trimmings and stuff like that. So I put me a little bit of water in that pot just to barely cover the bottom to get it going. I put all those trimmings in there and I just put it on low and started rendering it. All the water eventually kind of boils off. It escapes as steam. And then you're left with this beautiful tallow and all the little crunchy bites on the inside. It's kind of like making beef crackling. And so we snacked it. And I took one, as those got to cooking and got real crispy and it was giving me the fat, I ended up with probably about a cup of beef tallow.
That's a lot of fat.
That's a lot of fat. Yeah, it was a lot of fat. This is a big tri-tip.
So did you strain the little crispy bits from the tallow?
Not
really. Leave it all in there?
I just kind of poured it up. We let it cool. Poured it up in like a little plastic dish and just let it kind of hang out all day on the counter. It solidified a little and I just popped it back in the microwave and thought, loosened it back up. But my plan was I was going to season this tri-tip and I used AP and TX. That was a little bit of the barbecue rub, nothing, and let it sit all day in the refrigerator in a baggie, Ziploc. Got our fire going that evening and I started the tri-tip kind of over to the side of the fire. It's like basically a reverse sear is all I did. And I let it come up till it was probably just flipped it every 10 minutes. It took maybe 20, 25 minutes to get it up to about 115. And then I took that tallow and just started drizzling it all over the top, flipped it over the direct fire so it would start searing, poured more tallow over the top of it. And then it just would fireball. And, it's rocking and rolling because if you're on an open fire pit, smelling is out of this world.
I bet.
That beef tallow and the drippings of that tri-tip, God, it was so good. And then that's when my tongs broke, when I'm trying to flip as I'm searing and fire's coming up. So
the worst possible time.
Yeah, so one time I just grabbed it with my hand and turned it. And I said, that ain't going to work. I ain't doing that again. It was pretty hot.
And you didn't have gloves, did you?
No, I didn't have gloves or nothing. And then Austin's filming me with a cell phone. And on this fence, I'm cooking in this little area where they had their little fire pit. There's all these deer sheds that they found, and they've just left them out in the sun. I said, well, those things are pretty sterile, I bet. I grabbed me a set of deer horns and jabbed it in that tri-tip and used it as a meat
like
flipper.
A pig flipper.
Yeah. And then Mikey ended up, I don't know where he found them, but he come back with those, the big tongs that are in every barbecue set that you never use?
Yes, they're horrible.
Yeah. They found a set of those underneath the kitchen counter or something. And so he brought those out and I used that to take it up. But once it got to about 125 internal on my little cheap thermometer, put it in some foil and just let it set for about 10, 15 minutes. And I sliced it up thin and we made tacos. I bought some pico and I had a couple different hot sauce and a verde sauce, and I bought some cotija cheese and crumbled it up. So we made a good little dinner that night and did some black beans and rice.
What was the flavor like on that tri-tip?
Oh, it was phenomenal. So
Could
it had a little of the mesquite flavor. It was just beefy. It was beefy. Once I got it sliced, I did come back over it with just a pinch of AP just to give it a little pop. But it was, open flamed. That's the way you're supposed to cook a tri-tip. And you know what? So the Texas guys had never had it.
Oh, really?
They didn't know what tri-tip was. Because, you think it's a West Coast thing.
Yeah, I guess.
I guess they were like, what is tri-tip? And Chuck, one of my buddies from here that's in the lease out there, he'd never had tri-tip. So they were all shocked. And it wasn't.
But he's a Mississippi boy.
Yeah.
That makes
expect
sense.
him not to know. But you would think the Texas guys would know. But they didn't, never had it. But they tore it up. It was really good. Oh, and I made rotel. And we ate a whole batch of rotel. That's the first. I was shocked by that. That's the first time I think we've ever finished off. When I say a batch of rotel, it's the 2-pound block of Velveeta and the 2 cans of rotel. Nothing left.
That's how many people was it?
6.
6 grown men.
Yeah,
that's a lot of.
It's a lot of cheese.
That's a lot of cheese.
A lot of cheese. So we ate probably a 3.5-pound tri-tip and rice beans and 2 pounds processed American cheese. It was fantastic.
That's a dangerous move on vacation.
Yeah. No, you don't have to worry about the plumbing being messed up. But it was really good.
So how'd you cook the pastalaya?
So
what was the meat with the pastalaya?
I just did a really chicken thigh and smoked sausage. Real simple. Bought bell pepper and onion. I threw some mushrooms in there. I didn't do celery. Little fresh garlic. Sauteed that up. Browned off our sausage. Used that sausage grease to brown off the chicken thighs. Just seasoned them with. They had some. Actually, I found stale cracker seasoning, and so I bought some of that. And then
Which
they had
one?
some. This is his regular 2-step.
Okay.
Yeah, Cajun 2-step.
Because he's got a couple.
Yeah, so we seasoned those with that, and there were some Tonys up there, and so we threw in a little Tonys and 2-step, browned those thighs off real good, and then basically you just start making a sauce, a couple jars of Alfredo sauce, a little bit of chicken broth, thin it down a little bit.
So it's kind of like just a Cajun
Alfredo kind of, yeah. I don't know why you call it pastalaya. I guess because you start with the Trinity, but I didn't use celery. So you have your veg, you got your sausage and your protein in there. Add your Alfredo sauce and a little broth to get the consistency right. Boil your pasta. I used Tyler, you got to help me out. Penne, a little tube. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You like that?
Yeah. Boiled up a box of penne, and then you just drain it. Save a little of that pasta, the starchy pasta water, in case you need to thin it down a little, and then dump that sauce with the meat and all that and the vegetables over in the pasta. Kind of stir it. Add a little Parmesan cheese. Add a little bit of that starchy pasta water to get the consistency right, and then bought some frozen garlic bread.
What'd they think about that?
Oh, they wanted to know what brand bread I brought. I was like, I didn't bring nothing. That's from United. It was good, though. It was like an already buttery thing, and you just broke it open and put it in the oven.
So it was like the whole loaf?
Loaf, yeah.
Oh, okay. I like those.
It's easy.
Yeah.
That's a great dinner for feeding a lot of people. Because it made a big old spaghetti pot full,
Yeah.
And it's cheap. Thighs are cheap. Smoked sausage is cheap.
So I made chicken fettuccine Alfredo.
Yeah.
For when we went on vacation, I made a bunch of meals for my mom and Michael to have to eat. And I did that, but I put the chicken in the air fryer. I took chicken thighs, seasoned them up with king crawl, a little bit of AP, put them in the air fryer and cooked them. And they turned out really great. And it makes it so much easier,
Man, I like those chicken thighs in the air fryer. They get like the bird-ass chicken thigh style. Mm-hmm. I like throwing them in like an Asian marinade, kind of like a teriyaki thing. and then putting them in that air fryer and letting them get the little crispy bits all on them. And you talk about a quick meal. They're good just like that.
I think so too.
So you chopped them up and put them in a pasta.
Yeah, but we've done them like that and chopped them up and put them over noodles or stir fry or whatever.
Heck yeah. It's really good.
Speaking of using grills on vacation, did you see that guy? He was on vacation in Hawaii and the gas grill blew up on him.
No.
You should watch that footage.
Like the bottle blew up or the actual grill itself?
I'm not quite sure. They said they're still investigating.
Did it hurt him really bad?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Like, is he alive? Did it unalive him?
No.
Oh.
He's alive, but the picture of him in the hospital, he had like severe burns all over his body, fractured bones. Like it blew him back.
So he had to have had some kind of gas leak, and then it built up in the grill, and then he hit ignite or tried to light it with something. And that's the only way it did done, unless the bottle blew up, and then those bottles ain't no joke. I mean, they'll blow your house up.
It messed him up.
What did it do? Was he at underneath the back porch, or
it was like a mezzanine, I guess. It wasn't covered.
Is that on the Community to Watch, or how'd you see that?
I just saw it on a news feed.
We did find that and share it. Was it on TikTok?
No, I saw it on like Google News or whatever.
Yeah.
But it
anybody sees that,
shot him back.
Community. Oh,
fractured bones. Like he was in the hospital in like traction and all.
Pray for that dude.
Yeah,
that's terrible.
I felt very sorry.
I've never seen it happen, but I've seen videos of where pellet grills will build up that back pressure and then blow the lid off too. But I don't think they're going to come. But like that's like a bomb going on.
It looked like a bomb.
It builds up. You got 25-pound tank of propane, and it builds. And it's if you got it on high ripping, and that gas can't get out. If you'll notice on gas grills, a lot of them have, like on the sides of them, they'll have like a cutout, or they don't seal up really good.
Is that
what you had? Yeah, because it's got to get out. I mean, you need some air. You need some airflow too. But if you build up that much gas, you're trapping it, and then one spark, it's going to blow it. So it's basically like you're making a bomb.
I mean, because I guess the footage was from the house cam, the security cam or whatever.
Yeah, like a blink.
Yeah, something like that. That's what the footage looked like. But it looked like he was standing in front of the grill, and then you can see him.
Just be seen blowed out.
Yeah.
Yeah. That ain't no joke, man. That's scary.
So
that's another reason why to use roll oak charcoal. It ain't gonna blow up like that.
I feel sorry for him. Now I'm afraid. No more gas grills on vacation.
That's why you don't never light it with the lid closed. You don't light pellet grills with the lid closed. You don't want. I mean, if you
I do it all the time. I never even think about it.
Yeah, you're really supposed to open it up, let it go through combustion, let it start smoking really good, knowing you got a fire, and then close the lid and let it start coming up.
Okay.
That way it can't build up pressure.
I'm definitely doing that.
Same thing with a gas grill. I mean, I open that dude up and I light it and make sure it's lit. And then if it does go out or something, I open it back up. I don't never go back to lighting it because you just think you've been pumping that gas in there, and it's gonna blow.
So this weekend we're planning on doing a live.
Not the first time, but it's gonna be our new thing, right?
Yeah,
we're gonna try it
as much as anytime we have like kind of casual Friday or Saturday night, we're gonna try to go live for an hour. Maybe you're cooking something. Maybe you're just, having a cocktail or whatever.
Both.
Both. But yeah, so we're planning on doing a live this weekend on TikTok, right?
Yeah.
That's what we did. Yeah.
We're going to relaunch the Millers with Malcom. Gold tops will be cold. I'm going to do some wings, I think.
Okay. That's what I was going to ask you. What do you cooking?
I can cook, if we go live for an hour, I can cook wings probably an hour.
Yeah. Vortex?
I was really thinking throw them on a pellet grill. 400.
That's so boring.
I'll whip up a sauce or something to go with them and a couple sauces while we're doing live. You want me to do them on the Vortex?
I feel like you get more action on the Vortex.
Yeah, I can do it.
And we haven't had Vortex wings in a minute.
All right. I'm gonna put it in my little note here. Vortex, some jokers. I got to make sure I have a Vortex. I don't know if I've used one down at camp. I think I do.
I'm pretty sure you do.
You did on the party ribs.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. So there's one there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's no problem.
Those do cook in an hour, right?
Yeah. Heck yeah.
How much harder is it to cook on the Vortex charcoal grill? Use the charcoal grill with the Vortex versus the pellet grill.
I mean, pellet grill, you push start and the Vortex, put the coal in the Vortex and light it. I mean, it's easier to push start, but it ain't. Yeah, there's really no difference.
But it's not like you're constantly burning and turning those. Yeah.
I'd turn them one time usually. Just let them go halfway and then flip them over and finish them off.
Same thing with the pellet grill. You flip them halfway.
Yeah. No, that'll be good. That'll be really fun. We'll go live and we'll do the whole thing in action.
Answer questions.
If y'all don't mind me having a cold gold top while we do it.
I mean,
it is Saturday.
It'll be probably 5 o'clock.
There might be some ball games on too. I don't know if we can show that though.
What ball games? Basketball or baseball?
Both. It's prime time. You got the Rebels looking good on the diamond. They ain't looking too good on the court. They were doing all right. Now they're steady dropping a little.
Yeah, I checked out their schedule. I figured we'd try to go catch a baseball game down in Oxford.
Field. Heck yeah.
I love sitting. Baseball on TV is boring as it can be to me, but baseball in a stadium on a nice, pretty day.
Can't beat it.
Can't beat it. It's so much fun.
I love it, especially college ball. It's fun too.
Yeah. Especially a good game when there's a lot of people in the stands and a lot of excitement going on.
We're actually going to go to a Cubs game.
Yeah. I'm excited about that. Yeah. I've never been inside there. Wrigleyville.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
People have been giving recommendations on like where to go in Chicago.
Really?
Yeah, in the community.
Where's the consensus?
Well, there's just a few somebody recommended a taco place. It's supposed to be awesome. Somebody recommended anyway, I'm looking for recommendations for Wrigleyville.
Where to go at Wrigleyville?
Where to go in Wrigleyville. So keep those recommendations coming.
It's been so long since I've been there, but one of my favorite little spots was Tunes, but it's not really in Wrigleyville. It's just kind of on the outskirts.
Yeah.
But it's a cool little local neighborhood bar. They do barbecue there sometimes. I think he had a backwoods there. That's a cool spot. Did y'all do a poll on cheesesteak versus
I did. So we released the clip where you were talking about if Philly cheesesteaks or Italian beef sandwiches were better. So anywhere that I shared it, I tried to make a poll to go along with it just to see. And the consensus was that Philly cheesesteaks were better.
Really?
However, I will say that I think it's a bit biased because I think Philly cheesesteaks have been adopted nationwide. I don't really think you can find Italian beef sandwiches.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So
that's true. I would say a Philly cheesesteak is more known.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like you're going to go to Huey's and you're going to find a Philly cheesesteak. You're not going to find an Italian beef sandwich.
Yeah. There's
like that.
That's true. You can go to a bunch of restaurants in this area and find Philly cheesesteak. Yeah.
Lenny's does a cheesesteak.
Lenny's does it.
We've got, what's the place over here? Steak Escape. That's like a cheesesteak.
Yeah.
I don't know where we would go. We used to have a place up in Horn Lake that did authentic Chicago food. Well, they had the deep dish and they had the peppers and sausage, and then they had the Italian beef.
They had a good hot dog too.
Yeah.
But the vocal minority, in my opinion, was the Italian beef because those were the people commenting why they think the Italian beef.
So why were people saying why?
I mean, just like you were saying, so much more flavor, so much more moist, so much more, the peppers and all that. So.
Mm-hmm. Jardiniere.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I'm not biased. I love cheesesteaks. Don't get me wrong. I just think the Italian.
Yeah, you're not saying.
Yeah.
No cheesesteak.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love a good cheesesteak.
Beef, cheese, and bread.
Might have one for dinner. Heck, the little one that you do, the little fake one with the ground beef is good. It's kind of like a poor man's cheesesteak. Where I made the little sliders.
Yeah.
Those are delicious.
The brotherly shove.
Yeah.
So in the community, Greg was asking about how he was wanting to use white barbecue sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was cooking chicken. He was like, do you marinate with it? Do you mop with it? Do you baste with it? And it got me thinking, like, a lot of people don't know a lot about white barbecue sauce. It's not, it's been very regional.
Yeah, it is. So it's a mayo-based sauce. So I don't like to glaze with it or use it on the heat as much. Now, I have used it as like a pizza sauce.
Ooh, yeah.
It does really, really good as, if you're doing even in the oven, it would work. But it makes a really good pizza sauce.
My mom uses it for her pimento and cheese.
Yeah, she adds it to pimento cheese. I mean, the way you typically use it, you smoke your chicken and then you dunk it or drizzle it all over it at the end. And that's how you serve it.
We use it for serving with pulled pork too.
It's great on pulled pork. It's really good on chicken.
Pulled chicken sandwiches.
Yeah, it's what else? I use it in coleslaw. It makes it, you can doctor it up and sweeten it up and make a good coleslaw dressing with it. But so you can use it in a lot of different ways. It's not just for putting on chicken.
But mostly it's kind of an after the cook.
Yeah, yeah. Or it is a good base for that pizza. If you like a white pizza, anything you would use a white sauce with on pizza, like I got a barbecue chicken pizza that's great with it.
I wonder if you
pulled pork pizza is great with that instead of using like a traditional tomato sauce.
I wonder if you could use it like we were talking about making a pastalaya or fettuccine Alfredo. Use it kind of in a
You
Alfredo
probably could use it in that
sauce.
setting. I've never tried, but that's a good idea. Maybe that's something to experiment with.
Smoked pulled chicken.
I like that.
I know.
Alabama chicken.
Alabama chicken pasta.
That's gonna be I'm gonna write that note down.
So I got some facts for the Alabama white sauce for you.
All right.
So Alabama white sauce originated in 1925 at Big Bob Gibson's in Decatur, Alabama.
What year? 85?
1925.
25. Wow.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
So back in the 1920s, just to give you a little background, because I found this interesting. Bob Gibson, he worked on railroads in Decatur, Alabama, and he started out cooking barbecue on weekends just for his friends and family. And he was using a homemade pit in his backyard. And pretty soon word got out. Barbecue became popular, and he opened up his little restaurant in 1925.
In Decatur.
Yes, in Decatur. But what really set him apart was his white barbecue sauce. And they're not quite sure why he did it or where how he started doing it. But because that's 1925, I guess.
Yeah.
That story didn't get passed
down.
Yes,
and he was out of regular tomato sauce. So I'll just make it work.
Well, they think that the reason was because after you smoke chicken for so long, it has a tendency to dry out.
Yeah.
And dunking it in that mayo and stuff keeps it moist.
Because you're adding that fat back to it.
Yep. And
a traditional sauce doesn't have that fattiness. It's just mainly vinegar and sugar and tomatoes. That's primary.
So you're adding a little bit of flavor. Yeah. You flavor up your mayonnaise with vinegar, but it's adding that fat back to it and helping to keep that chicken moist after you've cooked it.
So Blue Plate was started in 27. So I wonder if there was like a mayonnaise, it was a new thing going on. I don't know when other brands started. But so if you had Blue Plate, if you had mayo coming in, because you're talking about this was like probably before refrigeration.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And
so back then, I don't know my condiment history. There's a show on Food Network that shows like the history of, food or whatever it is. How Food Made America. That'd be a good one to see what mayonnaise was like.
Yeah, because you had to make it at home back in the day. Yeah, all of a sudden there's a product that you could buy.
That's shelf stable that probably didn't have to be refrigerated. We've always had that argument. You have to keep mayo in the refrigerator, but it's got the vinegar in it that makes it stable. And so maybe there was like this craze of trying new stuff, and he decided to do it. I don't know. I need to ask Chris. I said, Chris, do you know why they started that?
Well, they asked Chris. That was him saying.
Oh, that was that. Okay.
Yeah. Because I did a little bit of research on it, which just means I Googled it.
Yeah. That's interesting, though. But if you're going to use mayo in your own homemade white barbecue sauce, what should you use, Shell?
Blue Plate.
Because why?
It's the best mayonnaise on the planet.
Quality since 1927. Real mayonnaise made in New Orleans, Louisiana.
But we've used the white barbecue sauce. We did a New Year's Day lunch where we cooked a whole hog and everything. Yes. Had a bunch of people over, and we had one of those 3-pot crock pot things.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. Yeah, it's like a little warmer with 3 vessels.
Yeah, and we had regular sweet sauce, vinegar sauce, and then the white barbecue sauce in there with little ladles, and kept it warm. And people were like, "What is this stuff? This is delicious." And I'm like, "Oh, it's white barbecue sauce."
You would almost think it was like a ranch or something like that.
Yeah, a lot of people think it was.
Yeah. And that goes with chicken. You got to think. I mean, putting just ranch out of the bottle is great with fried chicken. You can dip chicken nuggets in the white barbecue sauce. It's delicious.
I think it's better than store-bought ranch. Yeah. I took it to a wedding shower that I kind of catered one time, and people were going crazy over it. It was just pulled pork too. I had regular sauce and white sauce, and they were like, "Oh, what's in this?" And I was like, "Well, it's a mayonnaise-based sauce." And they were like, "I don't like mayonnaise."
Yeah, that's the kicker. When people find out that it's mayo in it, they're like, "Ooh, I don't like that." I guess there's a lot of people that don't like mayonnaise, or you just don't associate it with a sauce or something like that, you know.
But they liked it until they found out it was mayonnaise.
I've got something else that reminded me to do.
What's that?
Just I'm going to work on it and see if I can get it to work. I'm not going to divulge it right now.
Well, this would be a great time for us to take a little commercial break.
The How to Barbecue Right podcast is brought to you by our friends at Primo Grills. Shell, did you know that Primo is the only ceramic grill made right here in the good old USA?
What? Are you telling me that Primo Grills are proudly crafted here in the USA, ensuring top-notch quality and support for local craftsmanship?
I sure am. Plus, Primo Grill not only delivers mouth-watering flavor, but because of their innovative oval design and superior ceramic construction, Primo Grills also gives you a ton of cooking versatility.
Whether you're smoking low and slow or searing a steak to perfection, Primo Grills gives you the consistent heat distribution for mouth-watering results every time.
What she said, y'all. Y'all visit primogrill.com and check them out.
So I got some community questions for you.
Let's hit them. I love community questions.
I do too. So James posted his homemade buns.
I saw that. He said it's easy to do, that the mixer does all the work for you.
I don't know if I believe him, but it might be easy for him. But I kind of want to attempt it now. They looked so good.
I know. It looked like some fresh bakery, just perfect buns. My question is, so do you roll them in a ball and then bake them? Or, because I used what?
Let's ask our resident
baker. Yeah. We lean to Tyler for bacon because his wife makes all this bread
bacon.
I think that in the past she has done that, but you have to let it rise, and it kind of starts to resemble what you would think it would look like, and then you cut it after the fact.
Yeah. You bake it, then slice it.
Yeah. That's what I would think you do.
Yeah,
you don't cut them before.
You don't
like
say these are tops, these are bottoms.
These are bottoms.
Just had to clarify.
It doesn't work like that. Well, so I've done Parker House rolls before, and you do the same thing. It's all mixed in the stand mixer. The hardest thing about it was just getting the yeast to activate, because you got to take a thermopin and get your water to the right temp.
You worked all day on those Parker House rolls.
They were delicious. But no, the work's letting them rise twice.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't take that long to mix it all up. Once you get your yeast blooming, you add your ingredients, let it rip in the stand mixer, and then you have to let it rise. And then you turn it out, cut them, and with those, they go like golf ball size, and you kind of pinch them and fold them. So it makes this little pull-apart roll, and you let them rise again, and then you bake them. Once they get to you don't want them to rise too far. But once they rise, and that's how, it's a 4 or 5 hour process, depending on the temperature of your kitchen, because you got to get the things to rise right. Well, that's when we figured out, just buy the road, 2 rolls, put them in the muffin pan, let that rise, and bake those is way easier.
I wonder if you could use those Rhodes rolls for buns.
See, a bun isn't a roll.
Yeah.
And that's what gets me on when people say, oh, you can make these homemade buns. I think unless there's a different recipe, because all of that yeast, it's just yeast bread recipe. That's what, and if that's what you're using, that's not going to be the same style as what I think a hamburger bun is.
Yeah, I wonder what a hamburger bun is.
It's more like, it's not even the same as white bread. So I would have to look and find the recipe and see if it's a different flour, if you're adding, I don't know, more salt, whatever. There's got to be some difference into what you're doing to get it to taste like, otherwise you're just making a yeast roll and cutting it in half and calling it a bun. They looked awesome, but I wonder if it tastes like a yeast roll or if it tastes like a hamburger bun, So how would you describe the way y'all's taste, Tyler?
We've only had them twice, and the best time she made them, they're almost I want to say crunchy on the outside, but they get that bite on the outside, and then they're really kind of, I wouldn't say pillowy soft, but they're almost sort of spongy on the inside.
Yeah, but it's not like a store-bought bun at all.
No, not like
totally different texture.
Yeah,
If you're thinking, a McDonald's hamburger bun. It's not that.
No. I mean, I want a better quality than that.
Well,
I always peel the little top part off my bun.
Anyway,
I hate
the
it.
little crusty part.
Like not as
that's
hard.
what I grew up eating was those, Wonder hamburger bun or whatever, store-bought.
Oh, we still get them.
They have those store-bought, I think they're called ciabatta buns or rolls or whatever.
Is it more of that texture?
It's a little softer than that. That's what
I would call that
artisanal
buns. And you can buy those. They're like drier. You know what I mean? They're not as soft.
I always think they've been sitting there for way longer because nobody's buying
Now,
those.
the best ones that I've bought here lately and they're expensive, but they're those little brioche ones that Kroger has.
So good.
And they're close. Like if I could make a homemade bun that tasted like those, I'd be all about it because it's buttery, it's soft. It's like a better store-bought hamburger bun. But it's not it doesn't taste yeasty like my mom's yeast rolls. When I think of those rolls, I'm thinking of like the Lambert's throat rolls or school cafeteria rolls. Those aren't buns. Even though they're great sliced and putting ham and turkey and all that stuff in them like Thanksgiving, it's not a hamburger bun.
You're right.
So if I'm trying to do that, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But the brioche ones are awesome. If you ever never tried those, Kroger usually sells them. They just come in like a 3-pack. They don't come in like you can't buy 8 of them. They're not double stacked. It's just a fluffy. Usually they're back in the meat department, or somewhere.
Or in the bakery department.
Do they have those I've always seen them like up on top of the meat counters where I'd grab them.
Yeah, probably because that's where you're gravitating towards.
Yeah. But they're great. Like if you've seen any of our probably recent hamburgers and stuff, that's what I used. I can't remember if they're sliced or not. I think you have to slice them yourself.
That's fine. I don't mind.
Yeah.
I do hate slicing the Hawaiian bread. Like, when you make sliders, because I always feel like I get it uneven.
I'm surprised King's hadn't come out with that pre-cut.
Pre-sliced, yeah.
They would sell a ton of them.
I know. I'd buy it. I'd pay extra to go ahead and have the slice.
$1 extra for that slice.
Yeah. When I slice it, because you can't really see, it's like it's great on this side, and on this side it might be a little
ramp. Makes a ramp. Yeah.
So, Kean, he wanted to know, why do all the comp briskets I see online look like a loaf of bread? Does no one cook a packer anymore?
Pasteurized barbecue. No, that's what they're cooking it for the bite. It's different. Competition barbecue is they're trying to get one bite barbecue, cook it as fast as they can.
Put as much stuff on it.
Nobody, well, at least the people that I know that are winning, they're not cooking long full big brisket cook anymore. They're cutting these things down to box size. They've got these little trays they fit in. It's basically the size of this notepad or even a little bit smaller. But that brisket cooks fast and it cooks even and it stands up and every slice is going to be uniform. They can cook it in 5-6 hours versus a whole packer taking, 17.
Yeah.
And when I started cooking them, I always, we would trim them, but we would leave the flat and point connected and all that and cook a whole one. We'd have to put it on at 6-7 o'clock to have it ready the next day. It might come off and we might hold it a few hours in the morning, but still, we're doing a long overnight cook.
And you didn't separate it till you got it done.
No, until we got it done. Yeah, a lot of times we'd take the flat off and then finish the point, but guys just don't do that. You don't see the winning teams do that anymore. They've got it all down where they're either cooking them, like on an Outlaw on some kind of stick burner, Jambo, something like that, or they're cooking them on a drum and they're cooking them hot and fast and that brisket's done. It's wrapped in 2 hours or whatever and it's finishing out in 3 hours and it's going in a Cambro and it's just, there's less room for error. Like that big brisket, if you take your time and slow with it, it's, I don't know. I've always I love a long cooked overnight brisket.
Me too.
I just think they taste so much better eating wise, but it's not a comp brisket,
But
so that's why. And the chicken don't look like a chicken thigh either. You look at, you know what I mean? They look like perfect little pillows of just a little bite on each side of the bone. It doesn't look like a big old chicken thigh.
I remember
even the ribs are cut down smaller. Like nobody's cooking a full blown slab of ribs. They're docking the ends off, trimming them at the knuckle, perfectly squaring them up to where every rib looks the same. So most of the time 10 bones, sometimes 8 bones, depending on what you're doing. But it's always a little different. Pulled pork, nobody's cooking whole butts anymore.
Yeah, they're cooking.
They don't cook a whole 8 to 10 pound butt. People cut them down. They're probably cooking 4 pounds of meat or whatever. And sometimes I think it's legal just to do what do they call
Collar
it?
trim.
Collar trim butts now. Just the money muscle and a few tubes. So you don't see the big.
Well, cuts down on time.
Yeah, cuts down on time. That's
cuts
exactly
down
what
on
it is.
error.
I don't know if it cuts down on error.
Because
the more mass you got, the more you got. I've always thought, like, well, if I got this big piece, I can find enough on that big piece. When you only got a little bit, you got to nail it. You ain't got a lot of room for error. But it's definitely faster. Like you can start cooking it. You can light your pit at 4:35 a.m. and have everything ready to go by turn-in time, and you didn't have to do anything the whole day before.
The day before. And most of them show up trimmed and, ready to go. So John posted, he was sharing how he made chili, and he added chorizo to his chili. He mixed it with ground pork and did a smoked chuck roast.
Yeah.
But we've never added chorizo to our chili.
I'd like to try it.
Me too.
I love the flavor of chorizo.
But I think it would complement chili really well. It'd get it a more little Mexican-y flavor.
I wonder if you take the grease. The only thing with chorizo, it's really, really greasy.
So you might have to cook it separate.
Yeah. And I wonder if he does that and do you strain it real good? Or
what he did is he actually mixed the chorizo with ground pork and kind of made like a loaf and smoked it alongside his chuck.
Wow.
So it's already pulling out the notebook.
Gringo meatloaf. That's a good idea. That's a real good idea. I just want to try that.
Chorizo meatloaf?
Yes, glazed up and then use like cilantro and jalapeno and stuff like that in the meatloaf.
Mm-hmm. That's a great idea.
Make a little queso to go with it or something. How do you think that would be? Drizzled over the top.
Oh, what would you serve it with? Rice and beans?
Yeah, why not? And tortillas.
Meatloaf taco?
Man, it can't be bad.
I do like this. You need a good, what's coming up, Cinco de Mayo?
Yeah,
you need a good Cinco de Mayo recipe.
You think anybody's eating that for Cinco? Meatloaf?
He added Serranos and Anaheims and stuff to his chili, but you could add that into
in the meatloaf.
Yeah.
I like that idea because he's getting all the grease. You're getting nothing but the flavor of the chorizo when you do that because it's all dripping down. Was he catching all those drippings and making his chili? Yeah.
He wasn't putting it in his chili. I think.
Yeah. Because I'm not a fan of the over the top because it gets too greasy.
Yeah, I think he was collecting the drippings, but not necessarily adding it to the chili.
Yeah,
I didn't get the full.
Man, that's a good idea.
I love the Mexican meatloaf idea. Yeah. See,
learn something.
Ideas can come from anywhere. So, Jason had posted that he was going to make hot honey ribs, but he didn't have the hot rub. Mm-hmm. So he was asking could he just take the barbecue rub and add like some cayenne or something to it.
Definitely. You could use any rub that you spice up like that would work. And get the heat to your level. I would, if I was going to do it, I'd probably not just cayenne. I'd use white pepper. I'd use a couple different peppers to give it, because the hot rub's got a few different peppers in it to give it some heat. It's not just like, it's just cayenne. You got to hit depth of heat.
And you have more savory elements in the hot rub too.
So you pull out sugar, and when you pull out something, like when you do a spice recipe, if you pull out something, you got to add something back to make it whole again. So you pull out the sugar. Well, you can add white pepper, black pepper, cayenne pepper, any kind of spicy paprika or something like that, spicy chili powder, anything else that you want to get, and just kind of use the same amounts, but definitely add to it. I mean, you could do that no problem. I do stuff like that all the time. Kick one up, or just use something else spicy. You could use a little of the barbecue rub and any type of hot rub or whatever. Yeah,
and just mix them up.
Yep, mix it up until it tastes right to you.
So no matter what,
play with it, make it your own, but write it down what you do. That way you can duplicate it. Because I'm bad about that, not recording what I do. It's like, man, that was so good. What did I do? And
we're the worst about that, both of us.
Yeah, because I've just grabbed stuff, a lot of times, depending on circumstances. If it's working on a recipe, it's one thing. You got to write it all down. But if it's just cooking, you're having a good time, hanging out, you're just adding stuff.
You taste a little bit and like, I could use a little of this.
Yeah.
So,
those ribs are good too.
Those hot honey ribs were really good. I'm not a fan of sweet ribs, but they weren't too sweet. They weren't too hot. Mm-hmm. It was all worked. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Chris had a question about pork belly burn-ins. And I was like, yeah, this is a good question.
Okay.
He says when he pulls them out, they're always super tender when he finishes them. And then they get that chewy.
They lock up and get tough on you. They do sometimes. They're the best to me when they're hot and fresh. I mean, that's just the nature of it.
That's just that pork belly.
Yeah, that's it.
That's my biggest problem with them. You get one bite and they're
delicious. It
They
just
just
melts in your mouth. And it's quality of the pork belly, depending on how much fat versus lean it has. Because it's not I promise you, it's not the fat that's getting that. It's that lean meat that's in there that toughens back up. Because once it's hot and broke down, and it's soft, but then the texture comes back to it, and you just got that lean pork in there. So you have a texture change in it. I mean, what you have to do is heat them back up, and they'll get soft again. That's about the best thing you can do.
Yeah, he says the only thing he tosses them in sauce and throws them back on the smoker for a few more minutes.
And serve them hot. Yeah. I mean, they're not bad. They're just a little chewier.
But I feel like no matter what you do, there's going to be some bites of the pork belly bites that are chewy.
Yeah, the leaner bites. The fat's going to be soft, and the leaner is going to be a little leaner.
Yeah.
A little tougher. Can be.
And every little bite's
a little different.
Texture.
Yeah.
He says
if you want to make them really good, do the ones where you drop them in the fryer and fry them at the end. God, those were so good.
Those were strips, not bites.
Well, yeah, but you could do those with them. You could chop, you could do them, and I wouldn't season them real heavy or sauce them. I would, keep the sugar away from them. Season them pretty good, but keep the sugar away from them. Smoke them, and then flash fry them, and then toss them in sauce. And they're poof.
You did that with like strips, and then we made tacos with it.
Yeah. You cut them up.
It was so good.
Those were real good. Chicharrones. That's what they were. But they don't get tough.
No.
They were soft. The whole thing was. That's kind of like the trimmings of that tri-tip did. It's kind of that style. You're cooking it and rendering it down. And it gets crispy like that.
So Nicholas was wondering about how to make potato salad.
Oh, this is a shell question. First, get you some blue plate.
Step 1, blue plate.
Buy blue plate and potatoes.
He said either they turn out like mashed potatoes or they're crunchy.
So is he having trouble with how long to boil the potato to fork tender? Because usually it's 20 minutes. Here's the trick. Bring your pot of salted water to a boil. Don't put your potatoes in there cold. And then cut your potatoes uniform into chunks. And I'd like to, depending on how big the tater is, what size would you say?
A bite.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. 1 inch by 1 inch cube, kind of, maybe a little bigger than that, not much.
1 inch, 1 inch.
Yeah, and then boil them like that. And it takes 20 minutes. They should be fork tender at 20 minutes.
What potato do you use?
Red potatoes are the best for potato salad.
I like red potatoes because they hold up a little better.
Yep.
And they have a good texture. And I leave my skin on.
Yeah.
I like the skin on potato salad.
That's right. I do too. I wash them good and then quarter them. And those, it's like you half them and then come back down long and then make another cut, and you got about the right size, depending on how big that red potato is. But on the size I got, I would say that's a medium red potato. About a 2-pound bag. That's about the right amount of potatoes to use for a batch of potato salad. I've got a great recipe. It's a never fail.
I love that recipe.
That's what when you make potato salad, you pull that up and make it. It's a really easy.
But the key is to get those potatoes you don't want them too soft. You don't want them too, you just got to know how to, when to pull them and say,
but I will say this about potato salad. I don't mind the texture difference. Sometimes I will slice potatoes into like frying chip size, you know what I mean? Like medallions. And I'll boil those and I'll have a different texture because I'll have my one potatoes and then I'll fold in, I'll pull those out to the side and then I'll fold those back in. So you can tell it's potato salad because there's these pieces of potato in it that's a little different texture than the whole mash. Because you don't want it all it shouldn't be like mashed potato salad. It should have some texture to it.
But if you try to mix it too much,
it goes to mashed potatoes too.
I made one potato salad one time. You're like, this is like deviled egg stuff.
That's all. You whooped it too much.
You got to have your wet
Yeah.
and ready to go, and then you lightly fold those potatoes in.
And you may not use all your wet. You may, but you might not. You got to get it the right consistency. Potato salad's an art. We make it sound very simple.
It's a lot of technique. It's simple, but technique. But also, I would say the wet, your sauce or whatever, you want it to taste just a touch saltier than you would want it to be because those potatoes
soak up the
salt.
That's exactly right.
The worst thing to do is mix your potato salad up and then say it needs more seasoning because you're kind of screwed then.
Yep.
If you start mixing it up, then you're deviled egg stuff.
That's right. And I don't boil my eggs in there with the potatoes. I do those separate.
Oh, I don't have a problem. I'll boil my eggs.
You throw them in there with the potatoes?
Sure, why not?
Because you're overcooking the egg. It's going to be all green on the outside of the yolk. And
well, lately, since we've gotten that egg cooker, I just use the egg cooker.
Yeah, and it makes it was so easy. And you don't even have to punch the holes in it. Don't punch the holes in the egg like it says. So
we figured that out.
My sister-in-law, Yvonne, told me. She's like, I don't do that. I did do it, and stuff would come out of them. She said, I just did. So one time I did it without them, and I said, you know what? I'm going to try it. Works.
I don't know why I've been poking those holes this whole time. Because
maybe if you didn't do it right, it would blow the egg up in there or something. I don't know. But if you follow the directions, it's that much water. Do you have one of those, Tyler?
No.
Father's Day's coming up, Ashley. You should get. They cost about $4.99. That was my Father's Day gift one year. $4.99 and a card. You got a Father's Day gift.
I'm all right.
If you're a fan of deviled eggs, hey, they cost they're cheaper than a dozen eggs now.
I always do mine in the air fryer. It's
what?
Easy.
I tried that one time. I didn't like it.
How do you air fried deviled eggs?
Yeah.
I mean, boiled eggs, or they're not boiled. I guess cooked whole eggs.
I will say, traditionally, Ashley will do it, but I mean, I know it's real easy. You literally just throw them in there, cook them for X amount of time, pull them out, they're done. My dad.
I'll tell you what I did the other day. I
wanted 15 minutes. Just 15 minutes in the air fryer.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I'm gonna try it, but
I did a soft boiled egg the other day. I was souping up some packaged ramen. it was Trader Joe ramen, but it came with the stuff, and I said, you know what'd be good with this? A soft boiled egg. And so I threw away the package of seasoning and doctored it up myself, and I boiled my ramen. And
so you didn't use that package at all?
I use the what's it called? The crispy garlic chili oil and soy sauce. Oh yeah, soy sauce, and then I put a little green onion in it. And I had my bowl of ramen. Well, I did the eggs. I brought a pot of, I do put the eggs in the cold water, bring it up to a boil, and then set a timer. It's 7 minutes. And then you put them in an ice bath, chill them real fast, stop the cooking. And then when you peel them and you cut that egg in half, it's just runny yolk and perfect. Mm-hmm. And that and ramen, it was really good. I took top ramen to another level, or Trader Joe's ramen.
So you didn't even use the little pack?
You don't need the little pack if you know how to doctor it yourself, Shell.
Well, I was curious how it tasted. The little pack tasted.
Oh, I don't know. I can make another one. We'll put it in there and see.
That crispy chili oil, we go through
God, that stuff's so
a
good.
jar every 2 weeks at our house.
Heat, it's garlicky, it's crunchy, it adds the right amount of flavor to something. If you like Asian dishes, that stuff goes with it.
Noodles, eggs,
fried rice,
whatever.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
I bet you could do a deviled egg with that on it, or have that crispy chili oil combined into the stuffing.
Oh, wasabi egg.
Ooh.
Mix some of that in the stuffing and go that route, and then put a little of that stuff garnishes with that.
Yeah, use wasabi in your egg yolk and maybe a touch of blue plate mayonnaise.
Down with that. I wonder if you boiled the egg and added soy sauce to the water and stuff like that, you would get the flavors, or sesame oil. If it would soak into the egg and give that egg a different flavor.
I don't know.
Like a marinated egg, sort of.
Yeah, kind of. That's what I'm thinking. And then make a deviled egg out of it.
I could see you marinating it ahead of time. So you're saying boil it then marinate it?
Yeah.
Boil it, peel it, marinate it?
No.
Oh, just
add it to the boil.
Water.
Yeah. See if because when you throw, we throw eggs in our crawfish bowl, and they soak up the flavors from the crawfish bowl. So you throw them in there, you're just doctoring your water a little bit, Asian style flavors to get it in that egg, and then, boil them and take them and make your stuffing and then restuff it. I definitely think that, mustard, like Dijon mustard or some of that other, the spicy Chinese mustard, has that wasabi flavor.
It does, yeah.
And so you could use that and a little bit of that wasabi paste and put it in your stuffing, and you're going to get that flavor, and then top it however you want. It almost look like a piece of sushi or something, you know?
You said crawfish, and I started thinking about crawfish.
It is getting close.
When are you going to cook some crawfish?
I just saw a post the other day, $4 a pound at Star Landing and Getwell. So I never bought crawfish from them, but
Like live?
yeah.
$4 a pound live. Is that a good price or a bad price?
I mean, it ain't a great price, but last year prices stayed high till, you know, they always stay high till after Easter. So I'd like to get them for $3.50, but $4, I could swing that for a sack.
I mean,
that'd be about $120. That's pretty high for a sack of crawfish, but if you ain't had none, you ain't had
That's sounding good this weekend.
You're cooking colossal dog.
I am. I'm cooking colossal
You
dogs.
boil those in the crawfish pot.
No.
You don't like hot dogs in it, do you?
No.
You don't like the red skin sausage either?
No.
Man, that's the best. That's some of the best parts of the crawfish boil, the sausage.
I don't really like any of I like the mushrooms and I like the garlic that y'all throw in there. But
the other stuff you're not.
I'm not crazy about the potatoes. They're just too potatoey.
Mm-hmm.
The corn is too
They
messy.
make a good potato salad.
I will use the leftover ones to make potato salad.
And I love the corn. You got to have corn in the crawfish bowl. I want it all.
I like the
pickles,
crawfish.
everything you put in it. I want all of it.
I don't want the pickles.
Throw the pineapple in there at the end and eat it.
The rest of it's my favorite part.
You like everything but
everything but the crawfish.
Well, this year I told myself if y'all made it at any point when I'm there, I'm going to try it. Because I've never I don't know. Usually I'm like, I don't want to waste any, but I feel like I want to try it.
Yeah.
Because I've tried a lot of things that y'all have made that have made me like that thing.
You've never tried
crawfish?
I mean,
I've had crawfish tail, stuff like that. There's just something about
the peeling.
the the how to get the meat that's unappealing to me, but I'm going to try it. So
I put on gloves.
that might help.
sensitive hands.
What?
You got sensitive hands.
Yeah, I hate leaving a crawfish bowl, going home, and my hands just burn for the rest of the night. They do that when I chop jalapenos too. So, but yeah, wearing gloves might help decrease the ickiness.
Okay, I'll try that. But I like the sausage and the corn and the pickles and it's all so good.
I'll peel it for you, like a little kid.
I need, okay. Got an idea.
What's your idea? You're not going to share it?
Yeah, no, it's just a crawfish recipe. I mean, it ain't, it's just an idea I have.
Well,
I use this as like a inspirational time show.
Yeah.
I get all these ideas when we start talking about this stuff and it starts flowing. That's why I keep a notepad by me, and I use a lot of that. You know, some of it pans out, some of it is just brain fodder, I guess.
It's a brainstorming session.
Yeah, it kind of is, you know.
Well, Malc, that's all I have for you today.
Oh, well, it's springtime, and I can't wait to get to cooking. So we're going to be on the live. What platform, Tyler?
TikTok Saturday.
TikTok Saturday about 5-ish.
Yeah,
something like that.
That's what we're planning.
I got to burn some fields Saturday, but after that, I'm going to go live. I'll be ready for some gold tops. Tell them about the community.
Head on over to facebook.com/group/H2Q community and join a awesome community full of like-minded people. If y'all have any questions, there's tons of people that are super qualified to answer those questions. And nonetheless, it's even just sharing recipes and stuff like that over the weekend's a lot of fun, and us hopping in there and seeing what everybody's doing. A lot of the stuff that y'all heard here today came from that community. So,
are we giving anything away, or what's up with that?
Not right now. Our February giveaway has come to an end, but our March giveaway is already in the works. So be on the lookout.
You got to figure out what you're giving away.
Got to figure it out. Like I said, if you have anything barbecue related, you want to give anything away to our community, Tyler at HowToBBQRight.com.
If you're a company out there looking to give something away, we got some folks that like stuff. Well, Shell, tell them where they can find it.
If you'd like to connect with Malcom, it's HowToBBQRight on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and of course YouTube. If you'd like to connect with me, it's Miss Southern Shell on Instagram and TikTok.
All right. Well, we hope y'all enjoy the rest of your day. We appreciate y'all tuning in here at How to Barbecue Right Podcast, and we will be back next week to do it all again. Oh, I will be on Greg Rempe this week. It's the Barbecue Central show.
I need to make a note so you talk about that
every time.
Of the hour.
top of the hour. But y'all look for me on the Barbecue Central show live with Greg. He does it live every week. I'm the first Tuesday of the month guest, first segment always.
What are y'all talking about this week?
I don't know. I haven't talked to but I'll be on that, and I'm doing another podcast tonight. I don't know if it's live. Is it live?
It's live, but it's Grab 'em in the Brisket. So
Grab 'em in the Brisket.
If you're listening to this on Friday, you'll be able to rewatch it on their YouTube channel.
Okay. Well, you can see me live Tuesday. You can see me on the recorded version of the Grab 'em in the Brisket. I'll be on there tonight doing that one. So, all right. Well, appreciate y'all being here. We'll see you next time. We gone.